This docuseries, just like Who Killed Tupac, is a historical whodunit. It's attempting to get to the bottom of who killed the civil rights leader, the human rights leader, Malcolm X. For those of you from other planets, Malcolm X is a superhero, freedom fighter, father, one of the greatest speakers to ever walk this earth, and one of the most charismatic human beings to ever walk this earth. This docuseries begins with the narrator/leader of this new investigation, Abdur-Rahman, speaking on the turmoil that the freedom fighter was in during his last days. Muhammad is accredited as the most knowledgeable person on Malcolm X's assassination. Like many, Muhammad feels that Malcolm X's assassination was a conspiracy and a cover-up, and he feels that the actual shooters are still out there, living among us to this day. Malcolm, like many historical figures, had premonitions. He wasn't sleeping. His family and friends were worried. He knew that so many factions of people wanted him dead. His house had been firebombed. The night before his last public appearance, he secluded himself in a hotel in Manhattan. He knew he was going to die. And just to show you how tense the air was around Malcolm X, Muhammad goes on to say that many of the speakers who were supposed to be on the bill the day that Malcolm X was shot at the Audubon Ballroom didn't show up. And the narrator goes on to say that when Malcolm would speak at large events like this, there would be a great police presence there for security. But on that day specifically that Malcolm X was assassinated, only 2 officers were there, and they were ducked off somewhere in the back. So even if something happened, they would be rendered useless. It was really no reason for them to even be there. They couldn't help anybody. It would have been too late. The doc goes on to discuss Malcolm's legacy and long-reaching influence. It also talks about how the Nation of Islam was a mecca, a structure, and a fountain of knowledge that transformed so many black folk, just like Malcolm. This series was edited in such a powerful and creative way. For example, when they're talking about key events, they make the pictures almost 3-dimensional, bringing the subject into the foreground and making the background and anything that's not needed to discuss the point blurry. And at times they'll use a chalk-like effect to circle key items in the scene. And sometimes they will scroll the camera across evidence to give the viewer the feel of being a detective holding a magnifying glass. The unfolding of this information pulls you in, and it keeps you glued to the screen. If you love Malcolm, this may be extremely hard to watch as they go over his autopsy photos in detail. Also, the placement of the sound bites in the interviews sinks you into the moment. The narrator talks about dedicating a huge portion of his life to solving Malcolm X's murder, and you can see on his face and you can see in his body language that it has taken a huge toll on him. And if you love Malcolm, watching this docuseries will take a big toll on you. This investigation consumed him. He's talking to current members of the Nation of Islam. He's talking to former NYPD who were actually on the case. And he's also talking to historians. All in all, it feels like a real life season of True Detective. Now, going into watching this, I thought I had a super clear handle on who killed Malcolm X. But this documentary points out specific names and faces of the people in real life who were responsible. It shows you in great detail how the FBI, led by J. Edgar Hoover, surveillance Malcolm X and the Nation of Islam. You have no idea. You really have no idea. Many of the beloved pictures that we have of our civil rights leaders came from FBI informants. It will make you sick to your stomach because this is literally the same process that J. Edgar Hoover used from group to group that he dragged and dropped, from the Nation of Islam to the US organization to the Black Panthers to you name a group. This format of divide and conquer, of using double agents, of random people off the street infiltrating these groups, this was dragged and dropped to so many black freedom fighting groups. I don't want to talk about the series for much longer because I just want you to go and watch it and enjoy it. This is a quick side note. If you've ever seen Spike Lee's Malcolm X film, there is a character named Brother Baines, a fictional member of the Nation of Islam. Let me repeat, he's a fictional member of the Nation of Islam. And he helps make the bridge between Malcolm X and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, right? He helps bring him into the fold. And when Malcolm X continues to climb the ladder, climb the ranks within the Nation of Islam, Brother Baines becomes increasingly jealous.
Perhaps some of the brothers are a little jealous. Maybe they think you've been getting too much press, that's all.
So which leads me to think, well, let me also say this. So there is a real minister within the nation that looks exactly like Brother Baines, which causes me to ask the question, did Spike Lee create Brother Baines just as a character device slash metaphor of the real minister who was jealous of Malcolm X? If Spike Lee did that on purpose, that makes me love this film even more. This documentary is captivating, it's informative, it's so well done, and it's heartbreaking. And I'm warning you that if you love Malcolm X, you gotta be in a certain place to watch this docuseries. I've watched it twice, and it took me a long time to come around to the second time because it was so painful. And as always, if you like my videos and like to help me make more videos, pledge $1 to whatever you feel to my Patreon page. It helps keep me out of the Hunger Games and in front of your face. We got more movie reviews, and then we got more story reviews, and we got more movie reviews, and we got more story reviews coming your way. I'm in the bathroom.